Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So as y'all can tell by the title, I'm finally doing the video that I have been wanting to do for the longest time ever. So most of you know that I have been writing a novel for probably over a year now, and I finally got the time to finish chapters 1 through 10. And I had posted on my Instagram that I was going to do a vlog on my YouTube channel since September of reading, not actually reading, but doing a review from chapters 1 to 10. So if you're new to this channel, hey, my name is Alejandra. So if you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and hit that bell button so you can be notified every time I upload a new video. And also don't forget to hit that big thumbs up. So if you're interested in knowing what my novel is about, just keep watching this video. Okay, so first I just want to start off by telling you a little bit what my novel is about and then jumping into chapters 1 through 10. So it's obviously a romance. So it's just basically about a teenage girl that just graduated from high school and she hasn't had the best childhood. She has flashbacks of how her parents would argue, how her dad treated her mom, just physically and verbally abused her. And they finally got divorced when she was like 9 years old. So she just grew up thinking that that marriage didn't last, that love wasn't real, so she just would always say to herself that she was never going to fall in love because she had such a bad experience with her parents being married. Her image of marriage and love is just something that just doesn't exist for her. So her mom dies of cancer when she's 15. So her aunt takes her mom's only sister, takes her and she's raising her. So she raised her for the last 3 years because she's 18 now. And, and she meets this guy and the way they meet is just so freaking adorable. It's so cute. But obviously, I mean, she thinks, oh, he's handsome, he's cute, but, I'm not gonna, she has in her head that she's never gonna fall in love, never gonna meet guys, all that. So this guy just really likes her, and she's just trying her best to push him away because she's kind of feeling something for this guy, but she's just pushing him away because she has in her head that he will treat her the same way her dad treated her. The way her dad treated her mom. So they finally get to being boyfriend and girlfriend, and she's falling more in love with him. But then she gets to a point where she's so traumatized from her past that she literally just says, we have to break up. But she never talks about her past, her family, just nothing. So he doesn't really get why she acts like that. So she finally decides to just leave him behind. So she breaks up with him, and y'all probably think this is just a basic romance, but trust me guys, it is not. It is a beautiful love story, and so many things go on into this novel that it's just amazing. Like, you're gonna find out a lot of secrets about her past, about her present. And there's also this one person that connects both of them, and that all happens on chapter 10. And so when if this novel ever gets published, which I know it will, when y'all get to reading chapter 10, you're going to be more into the novel because you're going to start finding out a lot of things from her past. So it's not just basically a love story. It is just dark secrets, that her parents kept from her, and the way that there's just like a very big bond and connection between my two main characters. And it's just, I don't know, I don't want to get really into a lot of details, but I do want to share some stuff with you guys. So since I can't tell you a whole lot, then y'all probably think it's just a basic love story, but no, it is so many things happen in this novel that it is just amazing. Okay, so first I just want to show you what I have written. So that's the title, that's my dedication, and here I'm gonna start off with chapter 1, and I just want to show y'all just a quick clip of everything that I have written for chapter 1. So let's see. Okay, so chapter 1 is just basically she's on the way to the beach with her aunt who has been raising her for the last 3 years. It's senior week, and you know, her aunt decides her to take her to the beach. So she's at a gas station, and that is when she sees the love of her life. But obviously for the moment it's just a random cute guy that she sees, but little does she know that that is the love of her life. So she's basically just at the gas station waiting to pay for her gas, and she's just having flashbacks of how her past used to be with her parents. She's just remembering things, how they fought in front of her, all the bad things that her dad would tell her mother, and you know, whatnot. So I'm gonna go ahead and read just probably like 2 to 3 random sentences from this chapter. I will never forget my mama's sweet smile, just like I will never erase the image of horror in her face that she had after a stupid incident that afternoon at the fair. I was so excited about getting on all the rides because my dad had bought me an unlimited bracelet that would let you get on every ride as many times as you wanted. I wanted to go on the strawberry merry-go-round, but I was too little to get on by myself, so my dad got on with me since it was his turn to ride with me. My mama waited for us and waved as we passed by her. A few moments later, a young man stood beside her and started talking to her. I could see the horror in my mama's face as he got near her. She tried to keep her distance and make it seem like nothing was going on, but the man had every intention in keeping his conversation with her. I was scared to death, and I remember getting sick to my stomach because I knew what was about to happen. My dad had already seen them, and he looked furious. When the ride was over, I begged my dad to get me cotton candy to distract him, although I knew my stomach was a ball of nerves and I was not going to handle eating candy. I was only 6 years old, and I was already stressing over how to stop my parents from fighting. No child ever had to go through that at their age, but I did. There's no time for cotton candy, Violin, he said, furious, as he jerked my little trembling hand and stumped his feet towards Mama and the young man. And although my dad was driving, that didn't stop him from slapping my mama, and not even because I was there. I began to cry harder as my mama cried out in pain. She grabbed her cheek and looked at my dad with horror in her eyes, but my dad didn't even care to turn around or even apologize to her. He kept his eyes focused on the road and said nothing. He never apologized for nothing and blamed his behavior on her. She turned around slowly to look at me and forced herself to smile. When we got home, I went straight to my room and cried myself to sleep. If there was going to be more shouting with my parents, I didn't want to hear any of it anymore. He turned around and started walking. I couldn't help but notice how good looking he was. As he walked towards me, he knelt his head a little and gave me a slight smile. "How you doing, ma'am?" he asked nicely in a low voice. I simply smiled back. He looked around his mid-20s. He had brown eyes with strong bone cheeks and a light mustache. I slightly turned back and noticed he was in the pump in front of my aunt's car, and I noticed there was a woman in the front seat with sunglasses on looking at a magazine. There was a little boy and a girl in the back seat. They had beach toys in the back of their car and several suitcases piled on top of the car, so I quickly figured he was a married man going out to the beach with his wife and kids. They looked so happy, and it made me think of something I never had, a happy family, or something I would never have, because I had promised myself that I was never falling in love, and most definitely never getting married. So yes, so that was the last paragraph from chapter 1. So yes, he is, I'm not gonna say who that woman was in the car and if the kids are his, because like I said, I don't want to tell everything. So yes, he gets in the car with a woman with 2 kids, and so she basically thinks, oh, he's a married man. But I'm not gonna say if he's married or who the woman is. Y'all will be finding out later in this novel, but yes, that guy is the love of her life. So let's go ahead and jump into chapter 2. Okay, so let me just give y'all a quick I can't talk a quick view of what I have written for chapter 2. Okay, so chapter 2 is not as long, and it's basically just her arriving at the beach, And what she does here is her mom never wanted to talk about her past with her dad because they always just kind of had like a bad relationship since the beginning. So her daughter would always like ask her, you know, how did you meet my dad? How was it when y'all were dating and whatnot? But her mom it was a very sad part of her life when she was with her dad. So she always avoid a conversation like that with her daughter. So basically what she does here is that she asks her aunt, tell me about my parents. Tell me how their relationship used to be. How did they meet? Okay, so this is when her aunt starts telling her niece, my main character, her a little bit of their past. Melissa was 14 years old, a freshman in high school when she met your dad. He was 16, a junior in high school who played football, and all the girls in school wanted to be with him. Your mama entered the cheerleading squad along with her friends, and that's when she met Rick. Rick is her dad, and Melissa is her mom. I was only 4 years old in pre-K, so some of this is a little blurry for me to remember, but I do remember seeing her beautiful smile every afternoon as she came home from school. She would sit down with mama and talk about Rick all the time. So that is her aunt talking right now, and her aunt is her mom's sister, and they're 10 years apart. So she's basically telling her, I was 4 when your mom met your dad. Sometimes when he would go over, I would hear their conversations. He would yell at her, and she always ended up crying and apologizing over things that weren't her fault, but he always blamed her for their fights. When her aunt is done talking to her and telling her their love story, they start changing because they're going to go out, and that's how basically it ends. Well, this is the last sentence of chapter 2. Tonight was going to be a good night and a different one. I could feel it in the air. So jumping to chapter 3, let me just give y'all a quick summary. A quick clip of everything I have written for chapter 3. And this chapter is very, very interesting. So this is when she sees this guy again, when she just literally never thought in her life that she was going to see him again. So yes, I really, really like this chapter because this is when they officially meet. Okay, so here it is. As I was getting my wallet out, I accidentally turned my purse around and some of my items fell on the floor. I got up from my chair and bent down to reach for them. Hey, I'm Eric, but everybody calls me Rick, and you are? A man's voice said behind me. I got up quickly and was confused when I realized a complete stranger was introducing himself to me. I didn't know him for sure, but he looked so familiar, and I was trying to figure out where I had seen this guy before. After a few seconds, I realized who he was. He was the same guy I had seen at the gas station earlier today. He looked a little different because he had on a different change of clothes, and his hair was a little brushed. But I knew he was the same guy for sure. Why was a married man with 2 kids introducing himself to me? Oh my goodness, he's married. What a jerk, I thought to myself. He was trying to meet a young girl to have fun with tonight. He was a cheater like all men, but he had came across the wrong girl. There was no way I was about to give this stranger my name. His hand was still in mid-air when I finally snapped back to reality. Oh hey, I'm leaving, I said as I turned around to leave. Wait, he called out. You haven't told me your name. I was furious now. I turned around and crossed my arms. Excuse me? I don't talk to strangers, and I sure don't flirt with married men. Just because you're cute doesn't give you the right to go around asking for other girls' names when you have a wife and kids waiting for you, I said in a firm voice, and realizing that I had just called this stranger cute. I hated myself for that. His face was expressionless. Oh, I can't say that word. But he quickly recovered. First of all, I won't be a stranger no more after you give me your name and we get to know each other. Oh, hold on, let me just go down a little bit. And we get to know each other. Second of all, I wasn't trying to flirt with you, and if you call that flirting, then I can honestly say you did a terrible job. I've seen better flirting than that, and that was not good. And third of all, thank you for the compliment. I guess you can say I am good looking, but I'm not. My mouth dropped open. I could tell he was trying to be funny, but I stopped him before he could say another word. So besides being a jerk, a cheater, and rude, you're cocky? Yeah, I pass on stating my name to you, I said as I turned to leave for the second time. He laughed. Look, wait, I was joking. I was just trying to have a sense of humor with you. You caught my attention when I saw you at the gas station earlier today, and I couldn't believe my eyes when I saw you here. And besides, you're wrong. I'm not married, I asked, confronting him. Yes, I'm not married, but you don't know me. Why would you think I'm married? He asked, actually looking confused. Before I could answer him, he continued. As y'all can tell, she really already doesn't really like him because she thinks that he's married, and he's telling her I am not married. But since she saw him in a car with a woman and 2 kids, that's her image, you know, that he's married and he's probably a cheater. But no, he's not. So let me go ahead and move on to chapter 4. Okay, actually, I'm going to go ahead and read the last paragraph of chapter 3 because that connects to chapter 4. So this is still chapter 3, and then I'm going to jump to chapter 4. And this is the last paragraph of chapter 3, and it goes like this. As I was shutting down my laptop a few moments after my dad had left, I heard a car pull in the driveway. I looked at my phone, and it was 5 o'clock sharp. I ran to the front door with the excitement to tell my Aunt Lindsay what my dad had done for me. I heard footsteps on our front porch, and before she could open the door, I flew it open with the biggest smile in the world. From the moment I saw who was standing in my front door, I froze, and my smile faded as my jaw fell to the ground. I couldn't believe my eyes. So yes, what I just read there is the last paragraph of chapter 3. So y'all probably already know that the person standing in her front porch is Eric, and y'all probably thinking like, how in the world like did he know where she lived? And that is the big mystery. So now to chapter 4, and this is actually the first sentence of chapter 4. Eric stood on my front porch looking more handsome than ever. I was too shocked to say anything, so I'm sure I looked like a complete idiot in front of him. Well, it's nice to know you're this excited to see me again. I mean, you opened the door before I could even ring the doorbell, he said, laughing. You're kidding me, right? How in the world did you find out where I live? Oh, and by the way, I thought you were my aunt, so please don't be too excited. I would have ignored the doorbell if I knew it was you, I said, as serious as I could sound, so he could believe me, but I don't think he was buying it. I'm going to act like I didn't hear none of that, because I really like you, so I'm avoiding any negative words coming from you towards me. So then he leaves and convinces her to go on a date with him, but she still thinks that he's married, but he's like, no, I'm not married, and I'm going to show you that I'm not married. So she finally agrees to have a date with him. So let's go ahead and move to chapter 5. Okay, so chapter 5 is just basically of her going on the date with him, and they're talking, and he finally gives her evidence that he is not married. But I'm still not gonna say who that girl was. Y'all just have to read and find out. But he's not married when he meets her. And she finally believes him because she sees the evidence that he is not married. So yes, they're just basically at the restaurant, just conversating like a normal couple. And what he tells her at the end is just amazing. So he's basically telling her that he is going to move to the town where she is from. And like I said, he's a psychologist. So he got a job offer near her hometown. So he basically tells her, I'm moving in this town. And there's something that goes behind his decision. Read the last paragraph of chapter 5, I believe. Yes. Okay. Well, and this is him talking. Well, given the fact that I'd rather live in a small town than a big city, and the fact that I just met the most beautiful girl in the world, and she happens to live nearby, I think I've made the right choice. I was having a hard time choosing where to go just a few weeks ago. So then this is the girl talking. So you're saying, before I could finish my question, he spoke. Yes, bye. I'm taking the job here to be closer to you. So that is the end of chapter 5. So let's go ahead and move to chapter 6.